Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another anime episode review. I am the Rat, and this is the Rat's Nest. I'm joined as always by Kyle. Say hi, Kyle.
Hello, everyone.
Today we are talking about Mushoku Tensei, Season 2, Episode... Which one is it, Kyle? You're the one who has it pulled up. 19, right?
Yeah, 19.
19, Episode 19. Or Season 2, Part 2, Episode 7. Wow. Time sure does fly when you're watching mid-show. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah. We had the desert journey this time.
We do have the desert journey. This was a great episode. I say that every single time. I'm going to keep saying it because it's true.
You're a Mushoku Tensei glazer.
I do. I glaze it every single day. Before we get into talking about everything going on with this episode, I do want to preface this by saying, yes, I'm still in Hawaii. If you're following this weekly, thank you all very much. Very much appreciate it. Still in Hawaii. This is my last week here, though. And I do apologize if the recording is still a little bit off. I'm actually sitting in a different place in my condo right now because the other place is kind of uncomfortable, and this is just a little more comfortable. Also, if you're new here, if this is your first time, the way that we do things here is I know everything about Mushoku Tensei, and Kyle is an anime only. And so we talk about this. There are no spoilers beyond what the anime holds. And Kyle kind of leads the discussion, and we talk about it, and we just have a blast, don't we, Kyle? We have so much fun here on the Rat Nest. We have so much fun, you and I. It's so much fun.
Yeah, other than jokes that I can't tell if they're bits or not that you'll throw out.
It's great. Speaking of joke bits, to kind of start us off here, do you understand now the try not to fuck grandma arc?
I do understand it.
Yeah. It took me a second. I had to think through a couple different things. I was like, there's no way that's what it's referencing. I was like, oh, no. Ellen Elise and Big Reed. That's right.
And, this was a great episode because it was just, I know the stuff happened in the first half. We'll get to it. I was more enthralled by the second half because it was just so nice to finally, be back in the saddle again after a long time of... being away from adventuring for so long. We've sat down at this academy for a bit. We had a lot of stuff that we were trying to establish and do, and the focus was less so exploring and traveling, and more so just building up stuff there. But it was so nice to get back into the adventure vibes that I missed it from season 1 for a while. I loved the adventure vibes that happened since Turning Point 1 onward, and it was just cool to kind of get a little taste of that again after so long.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that the adventure vibe is something that I really enjoy getting to see again. Looking forward to see it continue, but also was a little bit short because one of the main things of this episode, and we can kind of work through it a little bit more, was there was a lot cut for the sake of time. Which makes sense. It's ultimately not terribly important stuff, and there is a lot more important stuff coming up. So, I can see and understand why they made the decision that they did to kind of cut the stuff, because ultimately it's just kind of world building stuff. There is some character stuff for Rudy. I am kind of sad to see that get cut, but that's just a casualty of there just wasn't time simply. You're never gonna get time for everything in the light novel. That's what I say. Because I love this episode. I think that it's great. I think that it's paced really, really well. I was telling Kyle, I think this is the shortest of Mushoku Tensei Season 2 episode has felt. At least in a long, long time. Because the end card came up and I was like, that's it. That's the episode. I think that just is a result of kind of the flow and of a bunch of different things coming together. It worked really, really well, I think. Just as an episode. Everything in it I liked. And so, Kyle, would you like to kind of start walking us through the episode?
Yeah, so it's basically broken up into halves. The first half is Rudeus prepping for this journey, and then the second half is what happens once he leaves his new manor, and he starts traveling with Ellen Elise. So at the very beginning, he's decided that he's going to go. And he decides that the first person that he's going to tell about this is Ellen Elise. and they're talking about it for a bit. And he's looking at a map, right? And he's saying like, yeah, the journey is going to be like, it's going to be 8 months there, 8 months back. That's kind of a lot.
Yeah, a very, very long trip.
Yeah, and then okay, you have to help me remember like some of the dialogue.
So he's like, it's gonna take 16 months, right? Essentially, who knows how long we're gonna spend there. He says probably gonna be closer to 2 years, right? 8 months there, 8 months back, plus who knows how much time they're spending there. And so he's like, well, Annalise and I am going. This is where I think something was cut. I can't remember exactly, and I sadly don't have the book with me to confirm. But I'm pretty sure here in the light novel, Annalise tried to unconvince him, try to be like, no, don't come. And she eventually relented. But I mean, that's
there was less resistance there. Like I remember her saying something along the lines of like, oh, yeah, I tried telling you, like I'm telling you, you should stay here, you shouldn't go. Like, there's something like that in this scene. Which, from what you're saying, it sounds like there was like it was a bigger deal and more of a scene of her trying to put up more resistance. But in the anime, it's just like, I told you so. Never listens to me. Kind of that vibe.
Yeah. And so then he goes and he's like, I'm gonna go say my goodbyes to everyone. Starts off with Nanahoshi. And he walks in and Nanahoshi's like, yo, what's up? And he's like, yeah, I'm leaving for 2 years. And then Nanahoshi jots up like her eyes are dead. And she's like, huh?
Yeah,
2 years. And Rudy's like, yeah, sorry. And she's like, no, wait a second. She pulls out a map of teleportation circles.
That's right. We're going to cheat.
And she's like, look, there's one here that goes to Begarit. From there, it's about a month up to Lapon. Or Rapon. I don't know how. I can't remember how the anime is translating it. I'm going to say Lapon.
Call it Rapon.
Rapon? Is that what the anime calls it?
I'm just going to call it Rapon. I don't remember.
Rapon? Okay, cool. We'll call it Rapon until I forget. So we have up to Rapon. So that makes it about a month trip. Just, technically a week to get to the one. A week. Month, a week. Yeah, let's just call it a month. Right? It's essentially a month there, a month back.
Give or take a month there, a month back. And that's not counting the time he'll spend in Begarit?
Begarit.
Begarit. Okay. It's not counting the time he'll spend there, but like at least for the travel time, that cuts it down significantly more. Like he should be able to, assuming nothing goes wrong, and things probably will go wrong. But assuming nothing goes wrong, he should be able to get there and get back. In and out, 5 minutes. What could go wrong? Just quick journey, there and back. Yeah. And so then, after he says his goodbyes to all of his friends, he's in the middle saying goodbye to like the Beast people, saying goodbye to everyone else, and he's like, yeah, I haven't seen like the one line that I remember is like, yeah, I haven't seen Buddy Daddy in a while, but
yeah,
Buddy Daddy.
I'm sure that guy's doing well.
Yeah, I wanted to bring him up. So then. After that, it cuts back to him at the house or at his place, explaining the situation to Sylphie, Aisha, and Norn. And he's saying like, yeah, I'll be gone. And she's like, oh, how long is it going to be? And he's like, well, originally it was going to be this whole like 8 month there, 8 month back thing. But then Nanahoshi helped me cheat, and we're going to use a teleportation circle. And Sylphie gets a little concerned, a little rightfully concerned, because as you know, the previous time teleportation circles were used in her life, they were not a very good thing that unfolded for her.
Yeah, she didn't have the best experiences with teleportation, just her entire family dying, so.
Yeah, everything getting uprooted, her whole life changing. It's kind of a big stuff. Deal. Yeah, minor detail.
I don't really know why she's so focused on it, honestly, but I mean, hey, what can you do, right?
And then I think he tries to like reassure her about it. It's like, he has a book that he found whenever Sylphie wasn't Sylphie and was in fact Fitz, and they found it in the library. Like it's from a trusted source. It's well informed. He's like, I promise things will be fine. And should we name the kid before I leave? And everyone's looking at him like, ew. And he's like, oh crap, is that like a thing is that kind of like a bad thing to say in this world? I don't remember his exact wording. His exact wording was strange. So that was the feeling, the sensation I got. It was like, oh, is that like a bad omen to say?
It is, yeah. And there's a little more elaboration on that Basically, like one of the legends. I don't want to misspeak the name. It could be the hero Ars or Aris, as I think the official light novel translation is. It could be the hero Ars before he left to go do something, go on some adventure. Him and his wife named his kid, and he died on the thing. So it's like a stigma in there, kind of like like the generic thing of like, oh, after this battle, let's get married, and then like someone's gonna die.
It's like local legend of like I get it. So then Aisha's like, hey, good idea. How about you name it once you're back, but if you're not back in time, we'll just call it Rudeus Jr.
Yeah, Runyer, as he's often called by the community.
And then I started joking a little bit watching the episode, and whenever later on, it's like you see Sylphie crying. I was like, yeah, she's crying because she knows that if he's not back in time, she has to name her kid that.
Yeah, it's a stupid name. I hate Rudeus Jr. Horrible character too.
I think it's a dumb name. I'll just say that.
Really?
It doesn't flow well to me. But anyway, that's
just your bad opinion.
It's my right opinion.
Runyer's quite a popular character.
Okay, when you word it like Runyer, it is funny. I have to say.
Okay, well, that's what we call him.
We.
Who's we? The Mushoku Tensei community. We call him Runyer.
No, but not in universe. It's non-canon.
Well, yeah, I mean, that'd be a stupid nickname if it was a canon, but I mean, how else are we going to differentiate between Rudy and his son?
You could just call him Junior.
No, that's stupid. We call him Runyer.
Anyway.
And the old version of Rudeus that travels from the future back in time, we call him Old Deus.
Okay, anyway. After that, it shows a giant-ass horse. I mean, it's like, that's a huge horse.
Matsukaze. That is the horse's name. It's Matsukaze.
I'm just going to call him giant-ass horse.
That's perfectly valid.
Yeah. So then, after they get their supplies ready, they're raring to go, but then, Cliff shows up, and they have him and Ellen Elise had a really like nice touching scene where, he gives Ellen Elise like the thing that he built to help with the curse, and, they're talking. It's like, whenever you get back, how about we get married? And he's like, I know you're not like of Millis descent, but like, how does a good old fashioned Millis wedding sound? She's crying, and she's like, oh, like you're such a wonderful man. It was a very wholesome scene.
Dude, Cliff is awesome, bro. I love Cliff.
I said this in episode. One of the worst takes that aged like milk was the rival thing. I thought that's what it was gearing up to, but no, just watching that scene, I was like, damn. If there was ever a time for me to be wrong about a call out in Mushoku Tensei or like a prediction, I'm so glad it was that. I'm so glad that
it was hilarious whenever you were telling me about that. I was like, oh, does he know?
Now I know. Now I'm in the he knows phase. They have such amazing chemistry, and I'm happy that they are doing the romance, and like he genuinely cares about her. He wants to help her, and she genuinely cares about him.
Yeah.
It was sweet. But then, that concludes the first half of the episode. Pretty good first half. It's some simple stuff. Rudeus saying his goodbyes, some point A to point B kind of stuff. A few scenes like that I enjoy. And then we get into the pretty quick meat and potatoes of the episode where they leave. It shows them like traveling a little bit for a week. And then they stumble across this weird rock in the woods that they get to. And then the second half starts. So Rudeus puts his hand to it. I forget what the chant is, but it's something about like a silver dragon emperor thing.
The holy dragon emperor, Shirad.
Yeah. So he does a little chant for it, and then he reveals like these hidden runes, basically. And in these runes is where the teleportation circle is, and they stumble across it, and Ellen Elise, the funny we made it in one piece thing. So they get to it, the teleporting stone, and she's like, is this safe? And he pulls out the book. That was a very reliable, thing that he had on him. And he's like, yeah, from what it seems like, a few things are different, but this should be able to send us, this should go two ways. All we have to do is hold hands and we go. And they do that, and they make it there. You know, nothing goes wrong during teleportation. They don't melt on impact. They arrive perfectly fine. And then as they're walking out, they're like, we should probably check and make sure that, it actually goes both ways. I'll do it. And she's like, no, I'm going to do it because I don't want to explain to Paul if anything went wrong on Yuko, like going back. So, she leaves. He walks up. He opens a weird thing. He opened a dresser and he saw some weird clothing item in it. That's probably important for later. I have no idea.
That is. So, do you remember why Nanahoshi knew about these teleport circles?
Orsted?
Yeah, because her and Orsted got around with them. That's an extra jacket for Orsted.
Oh, that's what I thought in the episode.
Because Sharia is traditionally snowy, and Megarita is obviously a desert. It's very hot, so he has that in there. So whenever he goes to Sharia, he can have a coat.
Smart. Yeah,
it's a small deal. I'm very glad we got to see it. That's a cool thing. I'm glad they kept.
I thought it was Orsted. I just didn't think much of it. I was like, oh yeah, maybe is it Orsted's? I don't know. And then
it's Orsted's.
A little bit, a smidge bit of time goes by, and then she shows up, and they're like, oh, I guess there might be some time lag with whenever you teleport, it's not instant.
Yeah.
Or it takes a while, or not a long while. It takes longer than you'd expect. It's not the teleporter actually takes months or whatever. It's just it takes a second to boot up.
Yeah, it's probably longer than you're thinking it is. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm probably not, but I think it was Rudy was waiting 34 minutes for her, roughly.
Wow. I mean,
so it's 17 both ways.
Yeah. Oh, then yeah. I mean, that's well then yeah. But that's not so bad though. I mean, would you rather that or the 7 extra months?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they do it. They get there, and they're gonna walk out, and Lisa's like, not much we can do with the sun going down. We should probably just set up camp. So okay, they make their camp outside, right?
Well, I think they camp in the ruins for the night, then they travel for a little bit, and then they're camping outside.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. It's the next scene. All right, so I remember. So yeah, they do that. It shows I guess their first night of just camping out, and then we get a pretty funny scene where Annalise is sleeping. She's obligatory panty shot, and Rudeus, he's like, I'm feeling a little pent up. What was it? He goes to grab her, and he's like, I feel a little pent up, and he walks out, and then he sees, I guess he sees a
woman,
a woman alert. His woman senses go off, and he kind of he gives in. He's just walking up to her, reaching out for her, and then he's like, "Oh no, stop!" And then she kills it, and it's that was a succubus, right? It was a succubus.
Yeah, the succubus.
Or an incubus, whatever.
It reveals its true form of his daughter.
Yeah, and then Rudeus falls over, and she's like, "Oh, you're right," and then he just looks up and says oh, let's get dirty, and then she's like, "Go detoxify right now." It's so stupid. So then, he's sitting there and he's detoxifying. This was a good scene. I like whenever he's just sitting there, he's trying to get back to normal. She looks over at him. She's like, "Let's get dirty, huh?" Making fun of what he said. That was great.
Wild. So a little more context on the scene. So succubuses emit a pheromone or whatever that makes men incredibly horny. That does not work on women. It does not work on women. It only works on men. And there's only 2 ways to get rid of it. Either 1, a man can have sex with a woman. 2, intermediate level detoxification magic. It's either intermediate or advanced. I can't remember. Thankfully, though, Rudy is whatever level is required detoxification magic to cure himself of it.
So what I'm hearing is
in the light novel, it's a little funnier in the light novel. I like it a little bit more. I wish they had kept it like this in the anime. It wouldn't have taken too much time. basically Rudy is like really trying to get with Annalise, and she's like just cast detoxification magic on yourself, and he's like, I'm not doing that. She's like, okay, fine, we'll have sex after you do that. And he's like, okay, sweet, that's awesome. He casts it on himself, and he's like, oh.
Okay, that's much better.
I do it. I think they kind of zoomed past that a little bit because that was fun. that's a fun little interaction. Yeah.
But no, that's great. Like just tricking the dumb like pent up sexual male brain. Be like, all right, do that. We'll have it. Okay, and he does it. It's just the shame.
Yeah.
Because in the scene 2 in the anime, he has a little bit of that, and she just looks over and starts like making fun of him. That was great.
Oh, I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, and then after that, we get a little bit of desert travel. We get like a travel montage. It was cool. Get to see just what is it like? Just walking the desert, like the big thing, like the big lizard thing.
Yeah, big guy.
And then at one point, they come across the red line. Oh wait, no. Before that, Ellen Lee spots more desert, and then they come across the red line.
Huh?
You don't remember? It's like, I think I found something. It's just more desert.
Wow. What was it exactly that you said?
Okay, because Ellen Elise was, she said, like, I found something, and it's like, oh yeah, I found more desert. And then, like, a few seconds went by, you just said, like, shut up.
It's great.
Because they come across this, like, giant wall, and then he uses his earth magic to, like lift them up, like make a big pillar that like, ascends and they go up. And as they're walking off of it, he's like, Rudeus, like look out. And then behind him, you see a Griffith, not Griffith. I'm getting my series mixed up. I'm getting my series mixed up.
No way.
A Griffin attack him. And another one lands in front of Ellen Lee's, and it's like, like we each do like a little 1v1 here. Without even having any detail, Rudeus just cooks the hell out of this thing. I mean, he beats it pretty easily. And then he assists Ellen Elise. She stabs it like arm into the ground, and he shoots a drill through it. Yeah, it was a nice little action scene. Something to add a little bit of intensity to the episode.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a really great, really well choreographed fight scene. Short, sweet, to the point. I liked it. Goated. No frauds here.
Has he lost the fight this season? Am I forgetting anything big? Has Rudeus like lost a big fight at all? That's been exciting. So. No, because like Luke. Yeah, okay. There's Luke. If you even want to call him a contender. The stuff with Buddy Daddy where it's like, shoot me, and then like one shot. Yeah. But anyway, after that, it's they're sitting there. It's night. Aren't they like cooking some of the griffin meat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ellen Lee's is like, oh yeah, I like your seasoning. And then they start talking for a little bit. I'm trying to remember the things that they talked about because I know one of the things that they talked about was like, oh no. So the two things I remember. She's like licking her fingers with like the seasoning, and Rudeus is like, oh yeah, that's kind of gross. Don't do that. She's like, you sound just like your mom. And then he's like, my mom sounded like that too? She responds with like, yeah, she always like ordered me around like, hey, you're a woman. You shouldn't do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then the topic shifts to Paul, and they talk a little bit about that. And she's like, oh, like I can't bring myself to forgive Paul. I can't forgive him for that. And, Rudeus like, yeah, I can only imagine the drama with like Paul and, his romantic escapades and cheating on Zenith and everything. Is there anything important there that I'm missing? I feel like there is.
Not really. It's nice little small talk. I like it. Appreciate it for their characters.
Yeah, believable
just
banter.
Adds more depth to their relationship together, their relationship with Paul. I like it. Yeah.
And then at the very end of the episode, one of them says, hey, I found more desert. And then look over beyond the desert hill. And then they see the city that they've been working to get toward.
Mm-hmm. They do indeed.
Yeah, they make it to the big city. And that's the episode. The second half, it was just again, like I said earlier, so much fun getting to see some fun travel shenanigans. Just some stupid. What?
Would you like me to tell you that in the light novel, this is where Rudeus first confronts killing someone?
Like in their travels.
A lot was cut from the Beggary journey, which is fine. That's completely fine. You know, you can't have everything. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I'd rather they spend the time in Volume 12. But
well, hold on, because he's only ever killed like monsters, right?
Yeah, he's never killed a person until this arc.
No, I mean that is. I feel like that is something important to focus on.
Yeah, So what it is, right, is on the way there, they join up with a caravan, and the bazaar is a much bigger set piece, like the little oasis they visited. Like, that's a much bigger set piece. They join a bazaar. We kind of got to learn a lot of the culture of Beggary. It's very, very interesting. It's very in-depth. I'd probably get half the details wrong if I tried to explain it to you right now. But it's some great world building. Here they speak the fighting god language. Which a small thing is back at the beginning of season 1 of mid-show. Fighting God is one of the languages Rudeus learns and becomes fluent in, which is, I believe, it's fighting God, beast God, and human that he can speak. So he's able to communicate with people on this continent, and I don't think Elenolese is. So that's just interesting that he finally gets to use it, because Beggary is where fighting God is spoken. And one of the things is with the caravan that they're guarding going up to Rappan is they get attacked by bandits and raiders. And while Rudy doesn't deliberately kill anyone, he definitely goes to a point where, like, spells that he casts, like he uses Quagmire and Walls and other stuff, he uses non-lethal spells, but the scale of which he used them, he knows, like, yeah, I probably killed people. Like, I can't confirm it. I didn't see the bodies. Like, I did not see anyone die, but I probably killed people. And so he kind of deals with that, like, a little bit. It's not the biggest thing in the world.
Okay.
But then there's some interesting things that come out of that. The caravan party itself are full of some pretty good characters, some good little interactions there. Just kind of more learning that the world that we're in is pretty gray. Just kind of more emphasis on that. It's an interesting little side story, I guess.
Okay. I would say
it's not necessary to the main story at all, but well, I mean, I won't say. I mean, it's not necessary to the main story.
All right. Given the wording of how, like, you described it, I think, because I will assume maybe that there is another there will be a point in the future where Rudeus, like, kills a person, right? Like an actual human, not just like a monster, not like like an actual an actual human that he kills. With what you said, like, it's confronting the idea that he probably maybe did. Like, there's no bodies, but I think that if they cut that there, they could save it for if he does. You know, you don't have to confirm or deny anything. But if he does kill a person in the future, you could save a confronting revelation for a moment like that. Because usually in stories like that, where characters who don't kill people kill someone for the first time, that's kind of a big deal. I mean, you're taking another life. You know, that's kind of on equal state. It's not just like a monster or something that you can dehumanize. It's another person. That is a lot to handle. And it would be interesting to see how he handles, like, the thoughts like that with how he's matured and seeing, you know, because if this were him younger, he'd probably try to, like, justify, you know, deny a lot of that stuff. But I would want to know how adult Rudeus confronts thoughts like that.
Yeah.
So I think if they save that for later, I think that would work really well. Like, this, you know, I can't speak on stuff that's been cut, but the episode for me as an anime only, it didn't feel like I was gypped on a lot of stuff.
Definitely. I mean, I think they do it well. I mean, like, and going forward, you're not going to feel like you missed anything either. And that's why they cut it. They like it's easily enough content for an entire other episode.
Yeah.
And so I understand wanting and using that time for Volume 12. That's what I want them to do.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting to let you know, and let any other anime onlys that watch this know kind of what was skipped there.
No, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's good to have some extra context whenever
It's
like,
also more
whenever-
motivation to read the light novel, which everyone should do.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I don't know.
I don't know.
Something could be.
At
could
the
be
end, they
pretty-
arrive to the labyrinth city of Rapon with the giant skeleton over it. Really cool set piece, if you ask me. I really like the design of the city, and I'm looking forward to getting into it.
I think having that giant, the giant skeleton looming over it, it's little decisions like that you flesh out the world that make me appreciate stories like this much more.
Yeah, Begarit's a really cool continent, and in the light novel, like I said, we get to learn a lot about the culture there. So if you haven't read the light novels, you should read the light novels and read that part. I think they'll probably explain. I don't know. They may or may not explain another thing about the city next episode, and if they don't, I'll say it.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I said, yeah, we'll wait and see.
Yeah. But overall, I love this episode. It went by really, really fast. I like Rudy. I like Ellen Elise. I like them interacting. It's fun. Fun teleportation. Fun Orsted clothing around. Great music, too. I mean, what you call it?
Oh, no, I brought that up in the episode, too. Like, whenever they were traversing the desert, I thought the desert OST, or like, I don't know if it was one or multiple, but the soundtrack that they used for traveling the desert, I don't know why. Something awakens in me when I see like this wide sweeping desert and I hear like the kind of epic traversal, but
Yeah, for sure.
Not epic like that, but more of like the epic appropriate music that plays. I mean, that we saw the episode, the type of music, but just desert music's always really fun.
Yeah, no, it's Yoshiaki Fujisawa, I think is the name of the composer, if I'm remembering their name right. And if they are the one composing the second half of season 2. But they always do such a great job of the OST. I mean, I just listen to the mid-show OST, but that's because I have to glaze it on the daily. So,
of course.
Okay, well, do you have any final thoughts on the episode before we head off here? Because you got to get to bed and I got to get to a cookout.
I do not. All I can say is I am super excited to see what this arc holds in store for us. Because I'm going to go on your way of wording it. I'm just going to call this arc Turning Point 3 the arc. Because I saw one thing on Twitter where someone's like, man, all of Turning Point 3 is just him having a kid. That's so I'm so happy for him. It's like
people think Turning Point 3 is him having a kid.
That's the forest for the trees right there. That's that they're from what you've hinted at and the vibes it's setting up. I'm guessing there's more to come. More bad things specifically to come. I'm not looking forward to that, but I am looking forward to see how the arc unfolds.
We'll just have to see. Well, if this was another episode, then obviously there's something you like, so make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment telling us what you thought about this episode. Thank you all for watching. We certainly hope you all enjoyed. We will see you all next time when I will be back home, safe and sound in my house that I have lived in for 3 days. Thank you all very much. We'll see you all that time. Bye-bye.
Bye.